Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Is there life on other planets? Scientists may be one step closer to an answer.
There is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
Welcome back to the Bit of Both Worlds podcast. Please give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Share the content around because that is always the best way to help your favorite YouTube channels. We are back. Sometimes at the end of episodes, Ronnie talks about stars. We have a little bit of a special episode today. We're gonna touch on.
It's early.
It's early. We've been late as hell before.
Oh yeah,
now
making
we're
up
early.
time.
And you know what? You guys just got to roll with the punches here, okay? But this is a good episode. We're gonna be talking all things ARV related on this episode, which of course is going to lead into talks of Lockheed Martin's skunkworks, Robert Lazar, who I have been telling you guys we would talk about more in depth, and here we are. How are you doing today, Ronnie?
I'm doing pretty good, actually.
This bearded dragon that I have is
Yeah, I was
dangerously
gonna
close
say,
to my...
is that a sliz on your shoulder? You just happy to see
She's very close to my face, and
Yeah.
hopefully she doesn't get pissed and just like she's never
munch
bit.
on you?
She's
Yeah.
never bit anybody, but she's been feeling.
And don't worry, he'll put up a picture on there for you so you can see this thing.
Yeah, I'll put up a picture of her for sure.
Yeah.
She likes the attention as well. But
Because it's a fucking dinosaur, bro. Yeah. Look at that thing.
Let me, as far as ARVs go, right? Alien reproductive vehicles. Have you ever heard of Alexander Waggers?
Not really. No.
I had not either until doing a little bit of just like finding out some more stuff I didn't already know to touch on this program. So I want to start off with him if we can. Alexander Waggers, he was born in like 1901, I believe. And go ahead and feel free to look this stuff up so you can back me up a little bit here. But yeah, I believe he was born in early 1900s, like 1901. And he was born outside the country. Forget where he's from, but he moved to the U.S. He studied.
He's on Facebook.
Oh my goodness, he's long dead.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
he had studied. He studied in engineering, and then also like moved to the U.S. Got into sculpting and was an artist and whatnot. But funnily enough, he is supposedly the actual first person to have a working patent for a UFO.
Aerospace engineer, mechanical engineer, and author.
Yeah,
Printmaker, blacksmith, philosopher.
Yeah,
Jesus,
there he is.
Man.
So he's an untapped talent for sure that I'd never heard of. A lot of people. I mean, I'm just totally unfamiliar with the name. Like, didn't even
born in Indonesia.
There you go. Didn't even ring a bell to me. But he created the first ARV, so to speak. He called them like helicopter discs or something, I believe.
Yeah.
And he had working patents for these, of which this was in the 1930s that he did this. So this is before Roswell. This is before all that other stuff. And
if you guys want to look up a pretty cool article on him, since he died in 2017, but there was an article written by Ashley Vance called "The Forgotten Legend of Silicon Valley's Flying Saucer Man."
There you go. So that's the guy. There you go. And he's. I mean, so here's the deal. This is what sparked my interest. Not only is he an interesting guy, but the fact that he created a patent for this in the 30s. He notoriously got extremely upset as time went on because the United States government bought out a lot of these UFO patents, right? And they were extremely interested in buying out people's patents, including this guy's, right? And he said, but this is my thing. Then he would literally see these discs. Like, you have to remember that, again, because it's the timeline of it, the 1930s, after he made this thing, they want to buy out his patent. Then we're seeing it on the, later in time, and Roswell, that freaked everyone. Oh my goodness, flying discs, flying saucers. And he's like, I invented this. You know,
Yeah.
then we saw it on the Jetsons. We saw it sweep over the nation, and he was extremely pissed off at the United States government for literally like stealing his entire idea, stealing his patent. And what it brought up to my mind is that, I'm a believer, right? So definitely believe that aliens exist, and I also really am of the belief that at least once, if not more, at some point, we have had crashed objects here that were not made on this world, and I do believe that, there are either, whether it's the government, whether it is private business companies, whoever it is, has acquired these things and has tried to back engineer them, hence the entire episode of the back engineering to make ARVs.
Yeah.
But this could be a theory of why this guy that I just discovered could literally be a theory of everything flying saucer related. There was no flying
the beginning of
there was no flying saucer spoken of. There was nothing like that as
Yeah.
far as when aliens are before this guy created this patent for a flying saucer. So,
and you have pictures of the patent, yeah?
and I have pictures of all that
Yeah,
stuff, so we're
it's
putting
really
that
cool.
up throughout. But yeah, what do you think
so
about that, Ronnie?
1944. That's cool. Was when that was done.
Oh, the patent?
Yeah, it looks like there was a.
Well, because
looks
I
like it's an
read.
expired patent now. Expired 1962.
See, I read that it was in the 30s that he made the thing. Maybe that's when he made the thing, but got a patent later.
Most likely, yeah. From what I can tell here, it does look like.
Is
it
this
was in
is this a
1944.
chicken and the egg thing to you? What came first?
It's called the discopter.
The discopter. That's what he called them. There
Yeah.
you go. Is this a chicken and the egg thing for you? Of what came first?
The alien or the patent?
alien or the patent of this saucer?
No, I do. I mean, I do find it very cool. I mean, the patent itself, looking at it, the pictures look fucking crazy.
Yeah, he believed
But-
that these would be widely used. That this would make him rich. These would be widely used because
Yeah.
easy transportation. He showed how they would be set
So-
to land inside of other.
So it actually does bring a lot of not speculation. That's not the right word. It brings a lot to attention that what if what we're seeing nowadays with all the new flying saucers and everything that are coming out so much is more we found a way to actually work his patent.
Yeah, or and long after him, he's the
Yeah.
first, which makes him special for sure. But long after him, there has been a lot of patents.
Oh yeah, there was
Also,
one done.
for UFOs.
Hedrick, something Hedrick. I forget his name. But yeah, last name Hedrick. He did another patent for a flying saucer.
Yeah, and
that
and
was,
the government they
like
go
1980s.
and they go and buy these things up. And they goes, can we do this thing?
Yeah.
Does this work? And I find that very interesting because again, if you just look at taking a step back from things, not getting into conspiracies, but you look at facts of people building these patents. Why? I mean, if this is such bullshit, right? We have
Yeah.
why would the government go and be buying up these patents? You know what I mean? Why because they do. When they see one that they find interesting in any way, they snatch it. It's theirs.
Oh. And you've seen the one that the U.S. Navy filed a patent for, right?
Yes. Now, are you talking about more recently as well?
Yeah, 2019.
Yes, and that was. Go ahead and read the article. That's like a miniature device that would make for faster than the speed of light
Yeah.
travel. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's just a small little triangle.
Yep. It's a triangle.
It is. Hey, pyramids, huh?
Hey, you guys ever heard of the TR-3B?
What's the TR-3B?
TR-3B is a ARV that supposedly
MTV?
works, and the United States government has it, and it's a triangle. It's a triangle in the sky that flies
Some
around.
of them are diamond shaped too.
Yeah. So now, if you guys have followed at all,
It's
like
it's the aim to reduce inertial mass
Yes.
by using high frequency electromagnetic wave vibrations.
yes,
It's supposed to create a localized vacuum around the outside of the resonant cavity wall.
right.
Yeah.
And the TR-3B is a triangle-shaped craft that supposedly has been seen all over. If you guys follow Jeremy Corbell at all and the newer sighting of over the military base of the triangle with lights, we've seen a lot of triangles in the past, but this is a most recent one as well. And there's been a plethora of them before that. That, when I look at that, that is the TR-3B. That's what people talk about. That's the triangle craft.
Yeah.
And people, a lot of people have said that when you see a triangle one like that, that is how we do ours. That's not how they would be.
That's not out of this world.
That's not nothing but ours, because we figured out how to do it.
And these things are hybrid vehicles. They work both in the air and underwater.
Look at that.
Yeah, and there was a whole thing of the instead of UFOs, it was the USO. The unidentified submerged objects. They're kind of narrow in shape.
Yeah.
And it says that they're supposed to be able to glide effortlessly through water or air like a stone gliding on a frictionless sheet of ice.
Kind of like the one military video that we saw, submerging underneath the water after it's floating up above us. This is... I'm really fascinated with the whole ARV thing. And of course, now let me touch on the great, Robert Lazar. Very controversial. Bobby Lays. Very controversial because there has been little holes people pick at this guy's story, but that is because people are so fascinated that this guy had come out in the 80s saying, I worked as a young man, I worked on these things. There are a lot of coincidences that are freaky with this guy's story, Bob Lazar. And one of them is, not only is he saying, I worked on these, and he gets extremely in-depth, says we couldn't back engineer it fully, but we figured out how some of this stuff works. He'll draw you the craft. He'll draw you the inside of how they what they were able to figure out of what works in it and what didn't. He said that they used a hand scanner that scanned your bone density, and that is how you got into not Area 51 either, which everybody was familiar with, but a place that at the time nobody had heard of, Area S4, okay, which is, I believe, just south of Area 51, where he said they actually keep the vehicles and had them working there. Now, later on, and he said that they used a element 115, and this was an anti-gravity element that didn't exist at the time. Some people theorized its existence. This guy said, nope, they have it. Like, we had a solid piece because it was in the craft, but we don't know how to replicate making a solid mass of element 115, and that was the problem, because that's what the anti-gravity would come from, that purposed the whole craft itself. So then later on in the future, there's an element 115 now that was not on the tables from back then. They have come out because it's older technology at this point. Said, isn't it funny? We used to use these bone density scanners in our most top secret facilities that nobody knew about at the time. And also Robert Lazar said that he'd tell you the whole thing. So I went to school here. People are like, you didn't go to school there. That shit doesn't really matter. Also, for the record, though, you guys, they did find a lot of people saying he was here at this school every single day, multiple different people. So I don't know, literally quote them, if he wasn't going to school here, he sure made a good show of it. You know? And
he's just showing up and hanging out on campus.
But then he supposedly said he'll tell you the way that I got hired into you want to know how this top secret companies work, and the way that you get brought into it was when I started working at EG&G. And when I worked at EG&G, that is when I was approached by people to the SAT program that said, if you can come work with us, we're on the cutting edge of things. You're a bright mind in propulsion. You come work with us. And they got hired through EG&G. Now, since then, we are very aware of. If you are into this subject at all or listening and following aliens, you should be extremely aware that the way that everybody says that this works is you go through who, Ronnie? EG&G. That's who you go through. That's where they approach you. That is the company that they literally will take people from to get into these SAC programs.
Yeah, which makes you wonder what that company also has to do with it.
Yes, a lot. No, it has a lot.
They're only going to hire people that are going to get taken.
It has a lot to do with
stuff,
it. They say that Boeing has a little thing like that where they'll take some people from Boeing.
What about Bigelow?
Robert Bigelow doesn't really. He's a private billionaire, or millionaire, whatever.
So
but he definitely has the fucking spaceships, dude. He's trying to sell them off. Okay.
It's fair. Did you know there was a patent created by our U.S. military as well? So CIA.gov, there's a whole patent website for a new flying saucer airliner. It's actually going to be, it's published in 1993, and then the patent created in 2015.
Yeah. Listen.
But it's the full flying saucer, actual circular version of it and everything.
And listen,
so
we live in.
Crazy to think.
Yeah, this is what ARVs are, and this is a lot ties into directly what Bob Lazar's whole story is. He's a guy that's trying to do the reverse engineering of these things. Bob Lazar
we already are.
Also, to this day, I want you guys to understand something else that's very important here. So there's a documentary on Bob Lazar that Jeremy Corbell did. And what is special is you've heard, I'm sure, Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan. You can look up for free the Bob Lazar interviews from the 80s, all these things, which he has the most important stuff in it. There's one, very, very, very key factor that you didn't know if you haven't seen the actual documentary that Jeremy, and he knows this is what I can add to it. Robert Lazar, to this day, I told you, they have Element 115 now officially on the table, right? But to this day, they still say, we can't make a condensed version of this element, okay?
Right.
So, to this day. So, back then, Bob Lazar said they had this piece, which we could never make, even now, and especially back then. And this is because it came from this alien goddamn craft. And he always said from back then, I had this piece, and I took this little piece of it, and you can run a cloud test on it, which a cloud test is you put the piece inside of a box, you blow, you put a camera through the top of the box that's staring down at the piece, and you blow smoke through a pipe into the box, and watch how the smoke goes around and does not touch on any side the object as the entire box fills with smoke, because it has anti-gravity purposes to it. And so that was his key thing. They said, well, where is it? He goes, damn it, I think I lost the video. And this was another way to discredit Bob Lazar. Now, in this documentary, the key thing about watching this thing is that if you knew everything else, he finds the video. And he puts the cloud test video that he always said he had and finds in that documentary. And you can see how the thing has fucking anti-gravity purposes to it, to the element. A condensed version, a little green piece, element 115.
Little green,
And the smoke goes around. So Robert Lazar, I mean, just there's a lot of coincidences, right? And when we talk about him fucking trying to back engineer alien craft and come and telling us there's this cloud test video, which is great, the element 115 that people didn't know existed then, the bone hand scanner, which you'd have only had to have access to a place like S4 or Area 51 to be able to know they used back then in the 80s, which is now official. That's what they used back then. All these things are a little too coincidental, and the only things to discredit him are saying well, his records didn't show that he went to school at this place, at this college. Like, that doesn't matter really anymore, right? Like, discredit the stuff, the incredible things he's saying about fucking alien technology. They're
Yeah,
like,
but-
he's a
oh,
he's a
so
liar.
cool.
He never liked Snickers bars though, so he's just lying. He said that once, and he never liked candy.
Yeah.
So this guy's just a known liar.
Hey,
You
I
know?
heard he was allergic to peanuts.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's a little silly, but yeah, that is your first introduction back in the '80s to alien reproductive vehicles. And what world are we living in right now? We're living in a world where you got David Grush, going out into Congress and saying, there is literally crash retrieval and back engineering programs that are secretly being run without oversight of Congress, or any government really oversight, secret, like deep black budget programs of this stuff. It's all very fascinating to me, and how much it gives me chills to think for real that it's very possible that Robert Lazar really fucking put his hands on these things and was working inside these fucking crafts like
Man,
he says
getting
he
the
was.
chance to actually see them in person, just touch them and feel everything coming off of that.
Yes.
Oh my god.
He said there's that the core of it, he replaced a guy that supposedly literally got blown up trying to work and cut into the core of what holds the element 115.
Yeah.
And that's who he replaced. And he said when he went in and he saw this thing, he never thought this is a flying saucer. He thought, wow, this is a cool, so this is ours and this and that. And then slowly he got chills because he didn't assume that, even though it's there in front of him. When they said, no, listen, we need you to tell us how it works. And he goes, what do you mean we tell you how it works? You have it built? It's right here. He goes, we didn't build it. And that's when he started getting chills. And he talks about how, just like you were saying, Ronnie, how his first, couple days, weeks there, he was filled with this sense, like you were like, I'm on the cutting edge of science. This is the most exciting, greatest thing. I'm the luckiest human being alive. And then slowly it transitioned into being terrifying as you realize that every piece of this is compartmentalized. As you realize that he finds out he can't, he's in trouble. You can't talk to the other people that you see in this facility.
Yeah.
They have their job, you have yours. Don't talk to anybody, just work on this thing. Then you have to go home, and they find out they're tapping your phone. They're making sure that he says that the reason the one of the reasons he knew they're tapping his phone is they knew before he did that his wife was cheating on him. So, and then this is another stupid thing to discredit him.
Well, to be fair, that's pretty easy to find out.
Oh yeah, no, but where I was going with this is another stupid thing that people have said to discredit him is that, well, it wasn't his wife that was cheating on him. He was cheating on his wife. Again, kind of irrelevant to the greater subject of this all. But
Fair
if
enough.
they're tapping your phone and they're doing that, and they know whether it was him cheating or his wife, it doesn't really matter so much to me. But they felt this guy is in an unstable situation because they monitor you when you're a part of and they don't want you in any sort of situation like that where you might feel like get depressed or I've lost it all or I don't care and I'll tell about this other stuff or I don't care anymore. And he just said this was all got very scary to him towards the end. That feeling of
It
excitement.
got all real.
Too real, and the feeling of excitement and being on the cutting edge of science went away pretty fast.
Yeah, replaced by fear.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, dude, fear of the unknown is just, that's a fear everybody has.
And he said that he was told, the guy before you died because he tried to cut into this core, so you don't do that. But they said here,
Don't do that.
So, but they said here, go up to it and it's like a metal sphere, which I'm sure I can find a picture of because I've seen it.
Does it kind of look like a demon core?
Maybe.
Have you
yes,
heard of that?
yes. It's a metal sphere that is over a little like disc plate, and then a sphere. And so they said, go up to this thing and try to put your hands on
Like
it.
that?
That is exactly what it looks.
That's one of our
kind of
things.
like. But no, that's not it. I'm just saying this one wasn't the picture. No, it's not that one. But it looks similar, right? But they said.
We'll throw up a picture of the demon core so that people can kind of get what you're saying.
There's another one though that he shows himself when he talks about this as a picture that he says this is it, and it's a bit different. But they said to him, go up and put your hands on this.
Yeah.
Try to touch it, and it's okay. And he goes, Jesus, the guy blew it. They go, it's okay. Just go up and I want you to see. Try to just touch it with your hand. And he goes up and he couldn't touch it with his hands. It would push back like a magnet, but to his flesh. Like it interacted with us and anything in the way that opposite magnets do, where they push you back and you can't touch it.
So did they say how the guy died?
He tried to cut into the core.
I know, but what was the cause that killed him?
I think he was like a visceral, like he was like his arms exploded off or some gnarly fucking thing. He died instantly, like trying to cut in. There was an explosion that came.
So
from this.
the demon core is very fascinating. You know what it is, right?
No, I don't.
So
really.
it is,
I've heard of them, but I don't know what that is really.
So they are they have a plutonium core, nicknamed the demon core. It was intended to be like a third atomic bomb, pretty much. But you can transfer them, but you have to be so fucking careful. If it bumps or shifts
the
in
atoms
any
inside
way,
it, anything. Yeah.
any way, it releases so much radiation, it will kill everything almost instantly.
Ooh.
So that's what I'm really wondering if, like, what they had in that ship was kind of like a demon core.
It looked
where
like
he
that,
tried
right?
to
I
cut
just
into
wanted,
it,
yeah.
And when he touched it with a knife or anything like that, it probably released everything kind of like this demon core does.
Quite possible. I mean, it looked a lot like that. Mm-hmm. It was not that picture that he showed
no
that
doubt.
I saw.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the only thing I wanted to be clear about. That no, so it isn't that picture, but it did look a lot like that.
Yeah, and that would make sense. I mean, that is a hell of a power source if you can harness it.
Well, let's keep this rolling on this ARV stuff.
There's another picture.
That looked more like it right there. That looked more like it.
Yeah.
So let's keep this rolling on the ARV thing. Do you know who Ben Rich is?
That was created in 1945, by the way.
The demon.
The demon core. Tungsten carbide blocks as neutron reflectors.
Ronnie, do you know who
Very
Ben
nice.
Rich is?
No, but I wish I'd been rich.
Yeah, Ben Rich.
Yeah.
Ben Rich is the founder and creator of Lockheed Martin skunkworks. And Ben Rich famously said to the press, to everybody, and in an announcement, we are so proud of this company, Lockheed Martin skunkworks. He says, to quote him, we have the technology now to take E.T. home. Little bit creepy that the guy who runs Lockheed skunkworks said that. He said, that's an exact quote, we have the technology to take E.T. home. And then goes on to say, if you've ever seen any science fiction outrageous movies, if you've watched Star Trek, anything that you can imagine could exist, we have done it here already at Lockheed Martin. So that is again the Lockheed Martin skunkworks is a major kind of culprit of where all of these ARVs have originally come from, or at bare minimum the ones that are worked through for the government of the United States.
Lockheed Martin. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's just like, why would you say that, right?
That is a really weird
Why
thing
would you
to
say that?
Well,
You
we can
literally
bring
talk
ET
about
home.
extraterrestrials. You'll
Yeah.
literally say all these movies with these spaceships, anything you think is possible, we've done it already. So you're saying that, but then when many congressmen, officials, military officials, intelligence guys that get access, they are told, I've heard a lot, dude, of stories where people say, like, when they're able to kind of get an in, right, at these high levels
Yeah.
with Lockheed Martin, they're told, a lot of people have been told, you can come here, we'll, like, they've been told ahead of time when they're saying, okay, we're going to go visit and see their facility, and then people will tell them from there ahead of time, listen, we're going to show you some things here that are a little bit out there.
Yeah.
And they get excited and they go, oh my goodness, you know, we've been told, lots of congressmen, by the way,
Yeah.
and then they go there, and that doesn't happen, and there are facilities, multiple different hangars, and some they go, what's over there? You're just showing me jets and stuff. I've seen these. Is this what I came here for? And what is in those hangars? And they go, yeah, we're not going over there today. And that they renege on the deal to be showing them these crazy things that are the only reason they've come there to see, and they acknowledge, like, without saying, what do you mean? Well, you can go and see the hangar, it's just more jets and regular aircrafts. No, they acknowledge, like, nah, you want to see over there, we're not going in that hangar today, you know. It's a little freaky. What you got, Ronnie? You had something cool about ARVs as well.
Not ARVs themselves, but Applied Physics. That company, Applied Physics. It's an independent group of scientists and engineers that advise companies and governments on science and technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they would post an article like this, but extraterrestrial vehicles can be detected using gravitational waves.
I've heard this from your hero, Ronnie's absolute hero. You know, Ronnie is a bit of a skeptic with us. His absolute fucking hero, you guys, is Dr. Stephen Greer. He loves Dr. Stephen Greer, who says he can contact fucking aliens with laser beams and stuff. He says that's how we get them down. He says you can't shoot at them with conventional weapons.
Yeah.
What you do is you use like shockwave devices that enable the because the crafts run on like electricity, so you use like a anti-electricity pulses at them, and this is what takes them down out of the sky. That's what he says.
That is what he says.
Go on.
Yeah. So, man, I'm just trying to figure out where to start with. It is really cool. I guess it's more of like a new method, you know. So they did a study called Introducing Physical Warp Drives, and it's like published in Classical and Quantum Gravity. Everybody at Applied Physics believe they will be able to measure minute gravitational distortions that are the consequence of extraterrestrial vehicles. You know, and which warp drives would be prime example.
So I'm sorry, you said it would be the consequence of it, meaning they are stating that there are extraterrestrial.
How else would they be able to say?
That's a consequence of us knowing this is because of that.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a way of saying that they're there without saying they're there.
Yeah.
But it goes on to say, at the present moment, our methods are applied to general class of rapid and or massive accelerating spacecraft. They call them a Rama craft, far from Earth. And they say in the future we hope to generalize the methods to smaller objects closer to home. That is Luke Sellers of the Advanced Propulsion Laboratory at Applied Physics.
Wow.
And not only that, all these other observatories, LIGO, Virgo, CAGRA, they're already greenlit for searching for Rama craft right away using gravitational waves. So all these observatories, DeSigo, the Big Bang Observer, they have like telescopes that are 100 times more sensitive than some others.
Right.
So they're going to be expanding the search and they're calling that Ramacraft Detection and Ranging, so Ramadar.
Yeah. What a strange world we live in.
Yeah,
You know?
pretty fucking cool. But they do say that the gravitational wave detection is still in infancy.
But what
still,
I mean...
it's just the beginning.
It's very cool.
And why word it in a way that's like, we can see the vehicles out there using this.
Yeah. And we know these things about building this vehicle we're building as a consequence of alien technology.
Yeah.
And also, that's what I mean. I mean, it's all very cool, but what a crazy world we live in. This is the point I always make, where you have these... I mean, the cutting edge of science
listen
is like, we're going to look for aliens.
Look at this part
the money
right here. Applied Physics plans to complete a fully fledged search for these objects, and they invite the scientific community to join.
Yeah. And so you have the top, brightest minds of our country using the most high-tech equipment we have available, supposedly, to look for these things and talk openly about it. You have Congress taking these hearings, passing bills that don't even have little strange, like, fine print writing attached to them. It's just literally a bill that's saying, if you have alien reproductive vehicles, we want to know about them, and by 6 months' time, Pentagon officials, and we just, why? I mean, this is a lot. It's a lot, I feel like, where you have to start thinking about this stuff. Like, you can't, if it's all so silly, you wouldn't live in this world that we do live in, with this stuff actually going on.
It's super fascinating. There's a lot of cool things going on right now, man. So, what is it? Virgin Galactic. Have you heard of Virgin Galactic?
No, I actually
they
never
are
have.
commercializing spaceflight. So they've already done one successful flight where they actually did take a group of people and did a full trip, space, come back down into our orbit and everything.
Okay. Oh.
And they're already planning a second trip. I mean, it's $250,000 per seat right now. But it's just the beginning of things where we will actually, once they're more in depth and in tune and able to do it so much easier and everything, that might become our new way of fucking just traveling.
Yeah,
instead of airplanes.
Instead of air
take us
and going
into more
against
like the
the
stratosphere.
air. Yeah, where you can move faster.
Yeah, and then just then we drop back down. Like, I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, well,
and
that's like doable now.
Yeah, and then the new flying cars that they just made recently too. It was
they want to deliver stuff with them. You're talking about the company, actually. There's a company that wants to use these to deliver stuff, and they say that they can use these flying cars to make your deliveries by like 2025. It's like I mean,
which that's cool too.
1 year, a little bit plus
but
away.
This one is actually FAA certified already. What fucking company is this? I think I found
Lockheed Martin Skunkworks.
I mean,
it's gonna be shipping to your door, folks.
Aleph Aeronautics, U.S. aviation company. Aleph Aeronautics. They're saying that like by 2030, these cars are gonna be out in production for about $30,000 per person. But right now, you can already get your hands on one, and they are about $300,000. But here's a picture of these. So it's not how you'd think they'd look, Tom. They fly sideways. So like you can drive on the ground like normal, and then when you go into the air, it goes kind of like a TIE fighter. Yeah.
Oh
but
my
how cool
goodness.
is that?
That's
their
cool.
design, and that's what they have made.
Is that an actual picture of one flying?
I don't know if it's actually flying, but that is the design that they have. So that's what it looks like when it's grounded.
Wow.
And I think there are some videos of it actually maneuvering, but it's kind of a dope looking fucking car, bro.
It's got to have suicide doors on it.
Oh, bro.
I mean,
they lift up.
It's already a flying car, for fuck's sake.
Make it look like
throw some
shit.
suicide doors on that bitch.
Yeah, so there'll be envision commercially available flying as soon as 2024. That's really soon. That's next year, buddy.
That's pretty awesome.
If you can get $300,000 to get one.
We have to cut this episode a little bit short. There's a very good friend we have to go help move a couch. Okay, so
Yes.
we will be thinking about aliens as well, and if we have the technology to just kind of fucking shoot a little gravity wave at that bitch, and it would be a lot easier than me and Ronnie breaking our backs doing it.
Yeah, you could just put on these like gloves, you know, and hit a
yeah.
button, and then you just fucking maneuver.
Lifting mittens.
Lifting mittens. TM.
All right, you got any star stuff? You didn't come with stars.
No, I didn't come with
That's
stars
good.
today.
That's actually good because we need to go.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why you even asked me.
I know, because I like to, you know why? Because I do like to, I do like to.
My thing about the stars was the commercial
I do like to
space.
tell people that, like, watch the shorts, because if he puts them up and I convince him into putting them up, and then we only get, like, a couple views on them, he feels like I'm not going to do that anymore. And I like to talk about how sometimes you don't have star stuff prepared, but that's actually suiting for today.
I'll come at you with some star stuff next week. Don't worry.
Okay.
You guys will like it too.
Sometimes
trust me.
people
I
like your
talked
star
about
shit.
the metallic cloud planet,
Yeah.
and now I'm seeing it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
More people are talking about it online through like TikTok and
Well,
Instagram.
listen, I thought, you know, if this
My-
show takes, like, what my idea of this show would be cool to take off where we're getting good views on it, but it's never going to be mainstream. We're more of
this
a
is
cult
fun.
following, and eventually what happens is this ends with me buying a big ass cabin in the woods, and then you guys are free to come out there. You know what I'm saying? I might, you know, we'll have a little. Hey, listen,
We're gonna see them.
we're gonna see them, and everything in this cult that we will have will be everything
Hey,
is
bit
about
of both
aliens.
cults, huh?
Yeah, everything will be about aliens. So when it's like, oh, I don't want to go out and chop wood, it's like, well, our alien lords tell you to. I'll just tell you stuff you want to hear to get you to do stuff.
I hope you get us hats that have antennas.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. We're all gonna wear one color. I just haven't figured out which.
It's obviously green.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks
It's
for
been
watching,
fun.
everybody.